Welcome to this wonderful masterclass with Richard Goode, one of the best, most profound pianists alive, and we're so excited and we're so thankful that he's with us here today. And for the next couple hours, you will hear three students performing, and I'm sure you will enjoy it. We are going to keep as quiet as possible because we're not using mics and amplification on stage right now. So, just if we're silent, we're going to hear everybody. So without further ado, I'll pass it to you.
Go. So now we begin with a beautiful slow movement of the Schubert A major sonata.
Which edition would you like?
Oh, well, I have my own. Thank you. Beautiful. Beautiful, very beautiful. I felt the presence of the real Schubert. The sentiment of the Schubert was there, and the tonal sensitivity, really beautiful. And some places, I loved the when you begin the triplets. It was perfect, I thought. I tend to feel this piece is sometimes played a little too slowly, and for my taste, maybe even your performance, as beautifully shaped as it was a little on the slow side. But I think it's more a matter of the movement inside the phrase than the actual tempo. I guess one of the reasons I feel is that this piece is poised between this sadness and melancholy and something which is not as deep sadness, something a little lighter that's in the piece that I feel if one begins this way, there's a certain feeling I had which becomes a little bit too serioso. It becomes a little, the piece becomes a little too focused on ba, ba, ba. And I think one of the things one can do is be sure that you play and that this is one thing and this is the other. So it's the two note slur, and then this a moving figure. There's always it can often sound like that when you want it. I think if you play and then a new motion, the da pa 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 is a kind of walking thing. You have the sentiment is and then you have the sort of walking motion. So the phrase has the two parts, and I think they shouldn't be brought together quite as much as you. I think Schubert loved so much this pa 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 pa. And you know the D major sonata, a whole movement with this triple upbeat. So if a little more, keep that in mind. And especially, often what it comes down to is that if you play new, so could you try that? And most of what I have to say it really pertains to that, but I think it could mean it's always andante, not poco adagio, I think. When you when you came to the, it was perfect because I felt the right relation between the. So maybe try beginning again. Yeah, I'll tell you what I think. You play and then you make a new motion on the second note. Could you play and then make this the second part of the down motion, and now a little forward now. Just allow the second note to fall instead of making a special motion. If it's a two-syllable word, heaven, say heaven, not but and now this, so that first eighth note is not related to the others, and then move slightly, a little more, give to the long notes and take away from the short ones, and try to think. I would say I could one to a measure, rather than T. If I conducted, I wouldn't want too much T. Boom, boom, boom. Think half measures, a little more. Boom, boom, boom. For now, exaggerate, rather than but move. So we feel the whole two measures in one motion. Move T T T. Next downbeat. Again, move T ta T. That's that. Yeah. So T and T. It's just think from first beat to first beat. And then unstressed. Once again, I'm a little bit moving you in the direction of a more moving andante. So try one say, move to the next measure. I'm sorry for spending so long on this, but it's T ta ta ta. I think you're thinking T da bum bum bum. I'm thinking T bum 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 bum. I'm thinking of going through these unstressed syllables. These are unstressed, so go through them, right? T, go through T, 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 right. T, tom, go through them, go. Take your time on the long notes. T, 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 T. Right. What about T, don't you think more and less? If you think, try once again. Just one main beat, and this is secondary. Again, go more. And one more thing, can you, even in pianissimo, make a little bit more between the difference of there's only really one harmony for two measures. Try once again, two measures at a time. That's right. Go now. Now here a new measure. T T T T T. Dum dum dum. Go. Now now new ti ti pam, and now more ti ti ti, more pam. Yeah. You see that ti becomes ti. I think you underplay the forte. Maybe it's so sensitive, this, but the fact, I think that you have a kind of growing in the second phrase. More, feel out the dissonance. Now more, I have a crescendo. So I think it goes from something being quite gentle, something becomes more painful, really. Goes away. So you have from the first two phrases, you have a kind of progression from gentle to something more poignant to, I think you have the same, maybe additions are a little different. You have also the forte with the crescendo. Yeah. It's a gentle piece, but don't be afraid of expressing the intensity of the dissonances. Yes. Yeah. Could you play the second phrase? For now, just exaggerate with me. So one feels one, and this. Yeah. Can I suggest something that you don't play with big hand motion in each, just the secondary. So everything is secondary to that. This is just the A being prolonged. Try. Just let it go. Now a little more. No more. That's one. I would go further. This is a prefiguring of what's going to happen. So let's expand a little bit. More intensity. More. I don't think I feel you're doing a lot of this, but I don't think it's getting into the keys, the intensity that you feel. What if you play right on the surface, inside the key? Yeah, feel down to the bottom of the key. No, even more. Don't be afraid. Yeah, this dissonance, not just that, but the dissonance is here, but not just here. But if I play that, I hear the melody note, but I don't hear the whole dissonance. play. Play the middle also. At least. Good. I wouldn't go down to that's it. And I think if you want to make that pianissimo really sound pianissimo, you have to play a little bit more. Could be played so that comes as a surprise. Then this is one thing. Now this is another thing. However you do it, if you want to change finger here. But what I don't want to hear is, I don't want to hear the, like it's four of them. That's right. Exactly. This is light, but this is yeah. You're doing a lot of arm. Just yeah. The more you think about it as part of a motion, this is one motion. Now, this is moving towards here. Right. Again. Now something else said. Now, Schubert has these rather strange markings here, which is very understandable if you play a string instrument or singing, but it's a little harder to realize on the piano. If you think, how can we do that? Feel the internal. Yeah, better. Better. Yeah, try maybe in the left hand. For now, just exaggerate with me. It's so easy to do if you're singing, and it's easy to do on a string instrument. This is hard for piano. But if you feel exaggerate a little first, and then you better. do you think when he leaves it out the second time, it's intentional, right?
Yeah.
The second time without this
Yes.
thing. So if you play the first time very clearly, the second time, simply without the with a different expression, simpler, right? Good. Let's do. Could we write yeah. Yeah, Schubert has so often the accent. In order to feel the accent, you have to feel the dissonance that it's against. That's good. Beautiful. But what about, yeah. I do think if you thought of the piece in slow one, that if you think one would be easier, but instead of then now one to a bar, more, all the way to, yeah, that crescendo, I'm sure that crescendo goes to, and then I think you could take time. I think you'll want to expand the third bar. If you feel one measure, another harmony, now three harmonies. Now back to one harmony every two measures. Try it once. Good. Yeah. Forgive me for picking on you so much, but it's because I think what you're doing is so sensitive. But if you could think larger. I think you're feeling the beats a little too much. I feel. Now, feel. If we were string players, we could make a crescendo through the bar. It would be so natural. We have a bow, but we're not. So we have to somehow think it and make it with what we have. So think crescendo now. I would, in playing, I think crescendo in the left hand too. So it's a matter of thinking, imaginative. Now think crescendo, all the voices. See, I don't want the music to stop with the depression of the note. I'd like Now, this is already crescendo. Crescendo. Can you create the impression of the crescendo going through the measure? Don't be afraid if you overstate it. Crescendo already. Yeah. I think I know what it is. I think if you try just playing da, 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 with the motion of the arm. Make a crescendo. Yeah, don't make a crescendo with the note, but make a crescendo by playing more and more pressure. Yeah, that's more of it, yeah. But you have two bars. Now you have 3 bars. Now play once again with 2 bar T. Now now the climax. But the second measure should be also powerful. You have the left hand, and then only you have the piano, which is only piano, and then you have. So if you think a little bigger, think. Go ahead. Forte. No. Piano means only. Piano is only relative matter. It doesn't mean play really softly, because look, you have to go all the way down, and then even here you have a pianissimo. So think you have the tension is not lost. I'm playing more like mezzo forte, but you. Schubert is the great master of the pianissimo and the triple piano, of course, but you have to then think ahead. Can you play one that was very good? Good. Do you feel the tension, the difference? Feel the second measure is dissonant. The first measure is not. Makes for dissonance, right? Complete the piano with and then it softens. You're preparing in a way that the B natural that's going to come by this dissonance here. So could you play T? Beautiful. Now speak. Yeah, yeah. You do have the imitation here. It's a little hard to hear, I think, unless you bring out a little more. I would bring out a little bit more the left hand imitation. That's yes. What happened? What happened? Why do you play piano on the second beat? It's very possible he might have wanted but don't let us down. It's that's good. Move. Move through the eighth notes. More. You're making it hard for yourself. You're making it hard for yourself by playing so beautifully and quietly this, but I think a little bit the tendency to see piano and to play beautifully softly. But you have to think of piano as very much a matter of relative matter. You're on the way down from forte because you really want to make the impression of the pianissimo. What if you played also the bass? Play T. Good. Good. And one thing we haven't talked about is how much you want to play top voice and how much you want to play all the voices. I think the top voice is very clear, but the inner voices are very rich, and why not? It's not just, but it's as you know, it's just a question of just thinking of the whole chord more. Play a T. Good. Can you give your pianissimo a voice? A little more. In pianissimo, speak a little more. That's right. Beautiful. Now with the crescendo. I think you could do the heavenly major even more if you gave a more sad color to the not so heavenly minor. Deeper. Then sorry. Think of the minor with more intensity. I know it's in more or less pianissimo, but give more to that minor, and then you can play more. Sorry. Sorry. Could you play again the minor? Now. In a way, so much of the piece is on a appoggiatura, this T, and it ends with that T, if you play the last measures a little bit like you're showing this note, play a little bit with emphasizing the beginning of every measure. You're going T, and then only really resolved in the last measures, but a little bit more significance. If I were a singer and there were words to this, maybe there would be a nice consonant on the first one, and you would say this, or love, T, or with a T, maybe T. I would do those with preparation of the hand. So T, could you try take time on making T, sinking in, not so immediate, sink in slowly. So from the surface, T, T, yeah, sing T, very gentle and slow. T, 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 ta, T, 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 yeah. Does it feel that it all differently? For me, when I play that kind of, there's a lot of you're sinking in with the whole hand. That's it. Now, yeah, again, here too. That's right. Here also. Yeah. When you play some of those wonderful chords, just listen to the internal dissonances. You have I would find it difficult to play immediately. Could you just play the chord? Just feel out the dissonances. Yeah, right. All you have so much. I think it would be impossible. It would be impossible to play that chord on strings with a quartet if they played with a fast attack. If they played dee da da bing, dee. No, you can't. You hardly imagine it. Dee, dee, dee. They have to sink into it. If you roll it a little bit, you feel it even more. Yeah. Can I say that the old-fashioned habit of rolling chords, which we all know about, maybe from old records, of playing chords has real meaning to it, because I think it's one way. I'm not saying that one should do it, but I'm thinking that this is not the only way of playing a chord. Not a terrible thing to do, to think of the, and not to play absolutely together all the time. If you're thinking, think about it when you come across these particularly wonderful harmonies. Think about playing them not so together when you're practicing, until you really hear all the dissonances. Here you can play all together. Yeah. Thank you very much for playing slow mo. Now, we're going to hear the fourth ballade.
Would you like the score?
I have my own actually. Which one is this? Is this the new? The new pattern. I think I have the same one in my own. Thank you. Adam Johnson. terrific things. I've always been afraid to play this piece myself, but I've studied it. So here's I have some thoughts about it. I think some of the places where it gets really complicated are wonderful, really wonderfully played and with a terrific sweep. I think when it's simple, sometimes it sounds a little too complicated.
Okay.
So I would say that in general, the introduction and the first statement should be as simple as possible. Not more so, but as simple as possible, so that we get the sense of where we're coming from. I mean, if you're telling the story, you have to begin with your opening has to be leading us into it without too much complication. It's going to get complicated enough. So I would say that I would generally play the opening a little more in time, and particularly when Chopin writes long slurs, as he does in the I wouldn't separate the slurs by playing as if they were two different. I would play, and then the contrary. The interruption was made with a certain freedom, and now again. It's like it's something spellbinding about the way that line continues. And I think one has to sort of think through a little bit more the whole structure of the theme, so that it kind of hangs together as a whole, because you're going to be playing very complicated variations on it, you know? In the opening, let me see your edition, because editions are different. Yeah, you have the same thing I do, and I kind of agree with this. It's not in all the editions, but the markings that you have the top voice in the opening. You have I would keep to that. If you begin and continue so that the top of the phrase is here, and you can then so in general, nothing should disturb this. There's just one long phrase in the top, or two long phrases in the top, and it's in general quite simple, and with a ritenuto at the end, which should be very natural, just go away. So the opening, even simpler than that, and then could you try just again? Yeah. I think that this G is coming from somewhere else. It shouldn't sound like keys. Each one a little bit more. No interruption for when the left hand comes in. All the way to the very gentle. Now the right hand was beautiful. Can you bring in? So it's reverse phrasing, right? Beautiful. This is, in general, this kind of retarded what I avoid. You played quite beautifully, but then you played a little bit, but we know about that, you know? So you don't have to accentuate what we know. We just let it go, but it shouldn't be drawn out. That was beautiful. I would go even further in making this dreamlike opening a dream by not having too much of a phrase articulation. After you have then you have an echo of an echo of an echo of an echo. So it's all put together by the first phrase is the most, and then goes away from, and that goes away from that. So it's one thing. The three phrases are really one long, long phrase. Could you once again, it's beautiful, the opening up. Continue. Continue. Go ahead. Little by little, let it fade away. That's right. Beautiful. Yeah, this is something that it might be different in different editions. This is curious, but what you do is, I think what generally would do with this, and then the theme starts. But what Chopin has is which is more beautiful in a way because it doesn't start the theme, but as if you begin and you're already speaking. And since it's a theme with such interesting involuted kind of shapes already, that you should begin in the middle seems right. But main feeling I have is that this theme, now, the comment on the theme, the active part, this is the spinning out of the melody. This is the comment. Do you have, I'm not sure you have the same marking, but in the, I think what is the manuscript of this, a page of the manuscript, there is this marking of have you ever seen that? Some versions you have, yeah, I see. So you did actually, what's in your edition, I have something different. Instead of, which is perfectly logical, what Chopin has written is, he has a rubato. Basically has a rubato. With a dot and a diminuendo. So, and at the same time, the left hand, so the harmony goes to the dominant, but the melody, the singing voice goes against it, which is extremely beautiful, and I don't know why it's not reproduced in this edition either. Each time, not to be exaggerated, but I think it's so right that the melody should go its way, in a gentle way, against the harmony which continues. So you have the harmonic rhythm going to the down. Could you try it? So the first part phrase is utterly simple. And now a little free, and now, and I think you feel it, but I'm not sure you project it quite enough. You begin with the F minor, then the A flat, I think should be a little more, with a little more intensity. So this rises to, and now resolving so that and back to the beginning again. I think it's necessary to make it clear, because in the beginning of the piece, what the levels are, without exaggerating it, but I think it's necessary. You know? Could you try and just start without starting? Try a different. Beat one and the two. I'll show you what it looks like. Yeah, and I would think in the first phrase, don't stop, but just go on through. Now you come at ta ti ti ta ti ta ti. Now a little more. And throughout, you know, I'm sure you noticed. He writes dots on the bass. Be aware that, and this also makes for the regularity of the rhythm here, which I think is very important here, that later on you can play with rubato in various ways, but I think it's very important to keep the clarity of the basses there. Now a little free. Can you do something with the hand? So you can freedom of the hand there. That's right. Now a little more now with the bass. A little more and more. This is and now this can be a little less. Now simple.
All of those go, and then.
But it could be very gentle. Just, I think he simply did not want with a certain freedom, but not too. But I think I always felt when this theme starts up again, even though Chopin doesn't write anything besides a few variants, that it has to have a reason to begin again, instead of we just have the theme exactly the same. And I just feel might be a little inner agitato after the end of a little more rubato to something to justify it's happening so soon after the. So whatever you come up with. But for me, it's has a little bit more. A little freer. Doesn't it seem strange, actually, this change of tempo that you do here?
I move it a little bit too much.
Yeah, I'm not sure when it's meant to move it almost at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing that happens here, the falling into the G flat with the pianissimo, all of this under a slur is meant to be, after this kind of open statement of the theme, meant to be a mysterious episode, and the veiled quality of it and the sound quality and the harmonic change should be enough. Because if you move it, suddenly seems, let's see, why is it moved? Why is it so beautifully established? Why does it have to go ahead here? So have you ever tried play in tempo? I don't think it will be boring. Spectral, like a vision. But very difficult is to play without too much pedal, the legato of this. I think if you achieve that sound and this seamless legato, as seamless as possible, then it'll achieve this effect of this wonderful spectral interlude, and then mezzo voce again. Could you try it? See if. Yeah, I think if you have play this it. The eighth notes just flow into each other. As little vertical as you can in the right hand. It shouldn't. No vertical element. I know you have to play vertically, but it shouldn't sound that way. Yeah, I'm not sure why, but the piano always to me sounds too vertical. In general, I think one of the great struggles is to make it sound this way while we play it this way. So I know it's a rather brilliant and sharp sounding instrument, both of these. But I would stay on the key. So imagine that you can just. Don't go further than this. I don't think. I hear. I want. here's a new articulation, but not before. It's an illusion. Try to keep the illusion. Like the winds. Without breathing. Yeah, and the upbeat softer. Downbeat a little more. No, don't the go to the downbeat. No, very light upbeat. Yeah. Play here. Not here, but don't let the key up. If you want that sound, play inside the key. Don't let it get don't use the space up there. Yes, keep your wrist supple so you can feel the space of the key. Then you can play even more lightly. Yeah, that's right. And then immediately after this leads into. So this should be, if this is mezzo voce, then this should be sotto voce, and now the normal voice. For my taste, the sotto voce, the mezzo voce, which of course doesn't mean sotto voce doesn't mean strangled, but just means I think don't come out of a certain kind of reserve. You know, when a singer sings mezzo voce, they don't use the full voice. So this never rises to a forte. I think it was a little too open, because I think it's important that Chopin writes crescendo, and then the first forte is in the next variation. So if you can feel that, you know, the absolute cantabile and all the, but it's still the nature of an introduction to the next variation. So I think it's still beautiful. I wrote not forte. Yeah. Could you play? Good. Immediately after now. Immediately speak. Right. Yes. All legato, all sung. Here I feel that it's where the mezzo enters. So you can give a little bit more. Feel the interweaving of the two voices here. Right.
Did I take too much time?
Yes. No theater. No theater. It's beautiful enough. Sure, but if you do this, we'll say, when is he going to go? No.
I think I played it too loudly, so I was waiting for the sound to decay.
I see. Yeah, it doesn't have to be loud, just held. It'll make its effect without, about twice too long, I would say. Good. And as the more difficult it got, the more I appreciated what you were doing. It was the simpler things that I wanted to talk about. So, I mean, the growth of the first variation, I think this was all mostly, I like very much. I think the difficulty is when the second theme, what I think of as a kind of barcarolle theme, comes, there's a kind of simplicity to the line that has to contrast with the much of the opening, the torture. And I think here, for example, after you go through all the futures, in your version, let me see what it looks like. Yeah, I think all this is not necessary. All these signs in a better version, I think in the later Polish edition, you don't have all this. All this is one line, and I think much better. And here is where it becomes a little more complex voicing. But I think it's important after this that this be absolutely simple. With one slur and no. Yeah, so it's very much an introduction, just giving you the basic rhythm. Now this says dolce. Now you begin to sing. But the whole thing within this really, really simple rhythmic framework, I think is very important. Play. Less and less. Now, then dolce. Yeah, but that's yes. Yeah, do very good, very good. You achieve the effect I think that's wanted, but I would go further and not lift the hand, for example. But again, we're talking about playing on the keyboard and not playing. When you play above the keyboard, you can often get the effect that you want because your ears, you're playing with your ear after all. But if you think that rather than one sometimes gets non-legato effects and you lose the gliding nature. And here you have, yeah, look at, I mean, could you try to find another relation? Yeah, because this, you see how beautiful this is? The bass is where the crescendo is, not here. And you see, it's the bass that's different now, right? The bass goes all the way to. Play once again. Can we play once again? It was beautiful. No, but take your time, but don't seem to make a retard. Just expand a little bit. Right, and again. All the way, all the way. Yeah, all of it beautiful. All of it must be within a kind of very smooth dolce with almost no accent. The lines are there, but I think that has to contrast very much with this extraordinary active texture of much of the rest of the piece. So if you can do that, it's like a dream. And then the dream comes back later on. You have the same character in forte, but if you could establish that it's like it's a wonderful, peaceful thing in the middle of a piece which is so tortuous, you know. And then in character in general and the playing, I'd like very much. I'm just going to go over a couple of places that I think just general because we don't have as much time as I'd like. The most complicated thing in the piece is, I think, the page. After you have after this, when the theme comes back and the opening comes back in this one page, and I think I'm trying to say. I think it sounds a little too crutched together. I wrote not rushed, so when after you come down from I would gradually relax the tempo and in those few bars until you come here, and then of course so basically a relaxation of the tempo over the next 8 bars or so. I think you'll be able to hear everything much better. Could you try from the idea? Sure. Yeah, This still has the most important voice. This is important, but let the upper voice still be the most important. I wouldn't. It's beautiful, but I would not let the tension up, let the forte up before here, if possible. Mm-hmm. And I would bring out what I think of as the French horn part. A little bit more. Now, it has to be a sudden vision, the dream of the opening reappearing. If you give too much of anticipation, it loses its effect. Now try to, and you have bum, 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 bum. You have this kind of syncopation. Bum, 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 Chopin is so specific here with the forte marking and the diminuendo ritardando in half a measure to pianissimo. He must mean something quite extreme. Yeah? Could you play it? But this is it's like an obbligato that has to be heard in the orchestra. Don't do a retard of the pop, 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 pop. You can make it sound that it's disappearing, as long as we don't feel it's note by note, you know. And now, whenever small notes appear, I think they're meant to be on the fast side. Not necessarily speedy prestissimo, but I think this kind of thing rather than anatomized. That's ornamental. That's right. Go ahead. Yeah, and then once again I would follow the markings in the sense that in this whole passage he is all within piano, legato, with showing the modulations, but never going outside that framework of that you establish. It's all possible within that framework. I'm sorry that we don't have more time, because there are maybe one more thing. Yeah, much of this was very, very, very well played. I'm just going to say one more thing, and that is, you don't have to play it as fast as that. It would really sound great if you played it basically the tempo of the piece. And I think there could be clarity inside it, and especially when you have the staccato left hand without pedal. You know, could you try just it just sound like Bach on that. But yeah. Now, but don't play. But play it as a continual. As a melodic line. That's right. Yeah, plenty fast enough, and then when you get to the yeah, and with the right hand sustained, left hand all staccato like, with I think with no pedal, and then of course the pedal completely. Yeah, I'm sorry we don't have more time. Next one. Bravo. And now we hear some Bach. Who is going to play us some Bach? Ah, hello.
Hi, I'm William.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Great. I have my Bach.
Okay.
What's your Bach? what edition do you
I
use?
Henley.
Henley? Okay, well, I have something rather similar.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'd love to hear as
I
much
can
as we
play-
can, but
I
yes.
can play just the first 5 movements and then we can see.
Oh, sure. Okay.
yes.
I might stop you before. Okay?
Okay.
Fine. Okay. Remind me to give it back to you. good. I'm going to stop you. Just want to talk a little bit about that. Very good. I have only really one general suggestion, is that I think there's a little more lightness in this piece than you bring to it. I feel like there's a kind of intensity about the way you're playing the opening, for example, the opening movement. And for me, there's a playfulness in this piece. It's, I feel that actually have, about your phrasing and about the basic shaping of the piece, I like very much, but I wonder if there's not something that is just generally lighter. If I look at this in the context of the other partitas, for me this is the most, one of the gentlest, most melodious, most French, for example, in the Sarabande, and there's a certain air of, it's a very lovely piece. And I wonder in the opening, even the opening, this you play very, but I wonder if there can be something a little bit more carefree about it. Sort of the beginning and the preamble, you're getting used to the keyboard, and you're playing. For me, this sort of figuration is rather smooth and very, not too much focused on the individual note, but more on the whole. I'm not playing it well, sorry. But I think I wouldn't worry so much about the playing individual notes so clearly, but more getting the lilt of the thing. Sorry?
Legato gesture.
Yeah, it doesn't feel that kind of playing, but here maybe more non-legato, but a kind of playful. I don't think a very intense piece here. I think the intensity can come in some passages, harmonic intensity, but I think what you did in the Courant I find very, very good. All they do, because here I think the finger articulation is very suitable to this piece, but maybe not so much in the Allemande. Again, the Allemande feels, in the Allemande it feels, if you play too much the interior of each triplet, then it begins to feel a little overly, why not? I feel that in a way it's more legato, melodioso piece. The basic idea feels to me that it moves in longer. Have you ever tried it as a gentler, kind of a gentle lilting kind of piece? I just want to avoid too much the interiors of the triplets. Could you try just a little?
A little bit more flowing.
I'm sorry?
A little more flowing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's feels to me not so much la da 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 da, but you're playing a little bit all the notes of the triplet. Even I'd like my trouble in listening to Bach dance movements is often when the balance between the shapes and the notes is not right, is too much note and not enough shape. I think I sometimes feel like strings of separate notes, of each one a thing in itself, the way it looks on the page, instead of the curves, instead of I don't want to hear too much individual notes. I want to hear the shape of the curves. I think usually comparing it to the scroll writing of Bach manuscripts and manuscripts in general, which are written not with straight lines, as you know, but with curves. And that's the way it seems to me the music is also conceived. So every part is. If it's a geometry of scrolls and curves, and that's what I'd like to hear a little bit more of. In order for that to happen, I think you have to go a little more on the andantino to allegretto side, more flowing in 4. That's right. Yes. And oh, good, very good. Now, definitely this would be if there's a cello part. It gives air. It gives air. Yeah. Try. I think cellos would play dom bom 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 bom. Right. Now take just the place you play. It's good. I hear in slow motion. I hear it as descending thirds. I wouldn't want them to be exaggerated, but if you do gently feel the inner shapes, it's definitely in many of these places an upbeat figure. Instead of I think you do feel it, but I think you're not bringing out. You need to bring out a little bit more of the melodic possibilities. That's right. Where you just started is where I think the left hand takes over, right? After could be felt here that the left hand is the leading voice. And the right hand is in two voices, in a way accompanying it. So in general, I think you could rethink it in terms of a little bit longer line and more melodioso kind of treatment. I like very much this, as I said. Could you play a little bit again, the corrente? The only thing I would say is, while I enjoy the articulation, I'm a little too conscious of it. I have a little problem with Glenn Gould, because I hear sometimes articulation and I don't hear as much music through the articulation. So I think it's possible to hold some notes a little more rather than playing them all. I mean, I think you would if it were young. Why not instead of it makes it a little easier for the listener, and also then the listener is not dominated by the idea of all these wonderfully equal short notes. I get tired of equal notes. I want to hear unequal notes. Because after all, bring out the notes you want to bring out. Sure. Good. Yeah. Yeah, good. And it's also you can also play sometimes legato. I noticed there's a legato slur here, or maybe just a phrase slur. But I think and then you have this kind of counter melody. You have in the right hand, but you have you could bring that out more too. And back to the original. So I think you can think in terms of changing the texture more, so that very natural to hold a little bit. I think you could give the listener a little bit more to hang on to.
You mean in the last phrase?
Yeah, when you have so you hear that yeah, in that. Going back to the opening, I wonder if you can just give a little bit more feeling of the kind of lightness of just light and with a certain ease and freedom. Nice. Good. Yeah, very much better. I like much better. cascading. A little bit more from top down. One thing. Try. Yeah, and I think the top notes are more important than you maybe. A little bit more feeling, maybe more pair. A little bit more in pairs. That's such a nut. Yeah. That it could go by too fast, so we don't feel this harmony. Yeah. Yes. We feel the harmonic underpinning of that. I know the piece and you do very well, but the audience maybe doesn't. The listener. Be sure that we hear. There's something to be said for sometimes holding the first note of a measure. The bass note is the most important here. The new bass note, but also maybe the top note a little bit. Yes. And then yeah, great. And then instead of ending, he ends. I'm just saying, look for the differences.
Yes.
And here the difference is going to the A instead of stopping on the F sharp. Good. Great, good. No, very good, very good. Bach gives you a chord. So I think you have to play it with a little more emphasis. I'm just in every way encouraging you to look for the differences and breaking up the texture. Everybody will hear that it's a piece continuous, except for a few measures in continuous 16th notes, but they won't necessarily hear what you probably hear while you're playing, which is the internal structure. Yeah. So I just want which you can show in all kinds of ways without being too obvious. But I want to go, since I know we don't have as much time as I'd like, I would like to hear the Sarabande very much. very nice feeling for this. I don't think this is also such an easy piece for the listener. I think it sounds a little too complicated in a way, unless we clarify it. There are two things I would like to clarify, and you might disagree with this. I think that all the values should be short. All the eighth notes should be considered pa-pa, pa-pa. Everything should be within the pa-pa, pa-pa, the Sarabande rhythm. I think otherwise it's not clear enough what's happening. And I think that generally with Bach, for example, you have tin, tin, always, always. You do much of the time, but I think it's all the time. I think da ta tam,
A little bit detached. A little bit detached.
Also sometimes a little detached. But the main idea is that rhythmically, when everything can go into that,
Yes.
fit into that. The other thing is it's in the French style. I think with rather soft and gentle. Appoggiaturas and cacciaturas, so and clear rhythmically that this is that this belongs to the next. Melodious, delicate. The appoggiaturas and the cacciaturas should never get in the way of the main rhythm. And then there's a kind of clarity to the rhythm. I think if you can play a little bit, with a little bit more of the sense of a slow dance, which the Sarabande is. Otherwise, I think it's very hard to grasp what the rhythmic character of this piece is. So I think you can exaggerate that a little more. Could you try, with or without, I don't care at this point, about the appoggiaturas, but I'd love to. I'd like to feel the gentle and rhythmical character of the piece a little more. Yeah. So we feel the rhythm. Nice. And if you do that, do it very short, very quickly, so it doesn't get in the way of. It's beautiful the way you do it, but I think more correctly would to continue the short. Bach didn't do the double dot here, but he could have. For clarity's sake, I think to continue the dotted figure. beautiful. So I think the piece as a whole, I think, has a larger shape. The first phrase begins ti-dim, pa-pa. The second one's ti-dum, pa-pa. The third one pa-pum, is longer. So you go to the D, you go to the F sharp. Now the B, and then it resolves. So I wonder if you just keep that in mind, that you're beginning, and then you're continuing, and then a longer phrase, all, and now, just to have the larger shape of this whole first part in mind. Yeah. Could you try the second one? You play sometimes, one plays against oneself. You play your left hand against the right hand, right? I mean, what it does. I mean, here you have a kind of hemiola, don't you? And the same thing here. So it's a little disguised by the appoggiaturas, but so I think I would enjoy that. Of course, you would be encouraged in this style to, when you play the second time, to add appoggiaturas.
Yeah.
Or what I do sometimes is leave a few of them out and then add them only the second time. No, but I think this is a highly figured style, so I think it could take it. Could you could you play it? Yeah, I think though, if you're listening for the large-scale harmony, you have you're now going to harmonically, you're going somewhere different. You're eventually going to go to the E minor. So if you could keep that in mind, unresolved. Now you're going, and then you resolve it. But if you could keep in mind that you want to reach that
Yes.
E minor and then go on from there. Could you play from the E minor, maybe from? Good. You can also just. You have three voice writing here, and you can really bring in the other voices a little more, I think. And then later on you have them a little less independently, but here I think you could bring them in more. Because he writes a long note here, I feel we should hear that it's there, and comes back. And to some extent, this seems to me the climax of the piece. If the piece has the climax, it would be here, I think. You choose to go away from it, which is beautiful, but I feel a little disappointed. And there's a little bit of a free measured resolving. Feels to me it's a gentle piece, but I still think it has a harmonic climax in that dissonance.
Yes, the high point.
And the high point also from the point of view harmony. I would play a little, almost if this were a fermata and a cadenza, slightly, and then resolving. Once again, with the feeling of the hemiolo. Yeah, it's an endlessly beautiful and interesting piece. We don't have much time, but I just have to hear, for my own curiosity on things, how you think of the opening of the minuet. I'm always curious, because
Of course.
I'm always curious how that will be realized, because it's written as you played it. It says tempo di minuetta, but the first three measures seem to be in 2 times 3, and the last measure in 4. And I think people think of it differently. I used to play it like that, and now if I would play it, I probably would try to indicate that the first measures are also in 3. That is, I don't know if that sounds just weird. Quicker, because I think in general minuets are rather fairly quick in the Bach. The dances. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I give feeling of the 3 against the 2. And very clear. I used to play the other way, but I found there wasn't enough to listen to.
Yes, I think I try to hear both the hemiola and the 3 beats when I play.
Yeah, you try to.
I try to hear both.
You do. I didn't hear them. Play it again. Maybe I'll hear it this time. No, I hear it very well played. I hear da 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 da, very clear. Ba da ba ba. I don't hear 3 beats in the first measures. Yeah, I don't think there's any comparable piece. Of course, later on, that is to judge this against, but later on, of course, Bach puts the 2 meters together in have all possible combinations. It remains to me a puzzle, you know. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Very good. Very good. Well, thank you all. Thank you all for staying overtime. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure. We went over time.
Can we it's okay. Can we take a picture with the students?
Sure, sure.
Yeah? Okay. I think first, I'll use the big camera.
I'm going to even give you this back.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you connected it.
I like it as a souvenir, but I guess I have to
Returned it, yeah.
Yeah. Are we very late?